Back for a little bit of Wildlands today. Last time we spoke, we covered a lot of information released in a Q&A done with Dominic Butler, who is the lead gameplay designer, going into topics like weapons and gameplay features. Today, we're going to be covering some smaller little tidbits of information, but things that I think are still important to know about Wildlands. Something that I spoke about in a previous video was the co-op nature of this game. Some people like to play open world shooters on their own to get a true single player experience. This is something we're seeing less and less of now from AAA developers, as there's always big cries from communities to create multiplayer environments instead. We've got a bit more confirmation on this for Wildlands now. As mentioned, it is a co-op shooter, but you will be able to play the game offline, with 3 AI characters filling the spaces that the rest of your buddies would have taken if you were playing co-op. This was confirmed recently by Kima, the community manager for the game, on their official forums. But unfortunately, at this time, we don't know if you'll actually need to have an internet connection to launch the game in offline mode. Sounds a little bit silly when you say, I need a connection to launch the offline mode, but this is something a lot of other games have done as an authenticity step to make sure it's a legitimate copy of the game. We don't have any information about that right now. Maybe we'll get more clarification as we approach a release. Next thing on my list of information that I've got here. AI Blue Fox, an established community member, he's a veteran of the franchise, has had access to the alpha build of the game. Ubisoft are using some of their most loyal players from past games for feedback here on Wildlands. And he's confirmed a nice welcome detail about the co-op layout of the campaign that you'll be playing through. He's confirmed that there's no tethering tying you to the rest of your co-op buddies, or the AI that might be taking their place. This means that you can go off and roam across the landscape and do whatever the hell you please, and then meet back up later again. As I said, this is a nice welcome feature, one that allows players to escape the storyline for a bit that devs build into these games, so they can just go off and do what they like. An open world game should be allowing you to explore the environment. And based on what they told us, because it's a co-op game, I kind of felt like they were going to sort of keep it very closed, very linear, and you had to stick to the story. But it is nice to see that there's going to be the options available for us to just go and roam and go and do some crazy stuff and then come back to the missions later. Following on from that, actually, it's worth noting that this no tether feature ties in quite nicely with the way that you can approach objectives in the game. You're simply given a target, and then it's 100% up to you and your mates that you're playing with to decide on how you want to attack it. Blue Fox also confirms some details on the flight mechanics of helicopters in the game. I know, right? Something fairly specific, but we'll probably take all we can get at this point. The controls apparently are very similar to GTA Online, which means a lot of people will find the transition into Wildlands fairly simple. And to be honest, the games do sound quite similar in their approach to missions, ranking, and activities as well. It's all down to the player as to how they really wish to proceed, what order they want to do things in. You can kind of carve your own path through the game. Onto the damage model now. Cortexian, who's another veteran community member, with his experience with the alpha, he's stated that around 5 to 6 shots in-game is needed to take somebody down. So obviously you're playing through the story missions here, you're needing to take out AI, it's going to take you about 5 or 6 bullets to do that. How does that sound to you? It seems to be following a model used in lots of other shooters out there, as opposed to mimicking what The Division has done recently, where you need a minigun full of rounds to take somebody down. I'm personally quite happy to see the damage as a bit more realistic, and a little bit more in line with what I would expect from a shooter game, but I will say this, it's taken from alpha testing, so this could completely change before it comes to release. Maybe they just need a little bit of feedback. I'm hoping in the future that we'll get to play a beta of this game to sort of get our hands on it before we start seeing too much more marketing material. Be nice to sort of see what they've got worked on so far. We could test that and then give them some good feedback on the game. And lastly, just before we end, IGN recently covered a story regarding some of the developers on Wildlands spending time with the Bolivian army in order to get a real sense of authenticity built into the game. For those that don't know, Wildlands is set in the high Bolivian plains, mixing in with jungles, mountains, grass areas, desert. It's all mixed in there. So it was quite interesting to know that they've actually spent some hands-on time with these people in the environment that the game is set in. Similar trips were set up for games like Far Cry 4 as well, and the authenticity there is, well, a little bit different. It is a fantasy game, but the environment that you played in was very immersive, so here's to hoping the developers on Wildlands can do even better. There you go, all up to date on Wildlands. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a like if you did, or hit the dislike button if you didn't. Leave me some comments too, let me know your thoughts on Wildlands. But my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.